Welcome to some of the most expensive streets on earth. We are here at Monaco for round 6 of the 2019 GP4 OC season for the Monaco Grand Prix, the 4th of 9 track to be on the OC calendar every season, the 3rd of 5 street circuits that are on the OC calendar at the moment, and of course the 3rd time the 1993 version of this track will be used. 5 teams having won here over the past 13 seasons, Ferrari winning here the most, McLaren with 3, Red Bull with 3 as well, Mercedes 2, and Renault having won here once. 78 laps around one of the shortest circuits on the calendar, or the shortest circuit on the calendar, 3.328 kilometers, 25 corners. That record set by the mighty Joel Hutter last season at 112.270. So, of course, last time out in Spain, Laura Chong took her first ever top tier OC victory, so very happy for her. Previous 4 winners have included Nicolas Gao winning here in 2015, Winner winning here 2016 and 2017, and Amar Kar, of course, winning last season 2018. So the big question is, could he keep it up? At the moment, it's Franco Lopez who's leading the standings. At the moment, it's been a strong season for him. For Amar Kar, unfortunately for him, it's been really the opposite, not been the greatest start of the season that he would have wanted. The tyres of using for this race would, of course, be the medium tyres. In free practice, it was Rahul Patel, the test driver, for Red Bull, who took the fastest time and won 11.5, beating the track record. Rivki Falkstein for Mercedes in 7th, actually, the other test driver. A bit low down for him. But going to the starting grid for the Monaco Grand Prix, and on the front row, it is a Mercedes 1-2. Franco Lopez absolutely obliterating the track record with a 1:10.6. Amar Kar second. Row 2 of the grid, we have Franco Gamba for Red Bull and Laura Chung for Ferrari. On row 3 of the grid, we have Joseph Wills for Ferrari and Miguel Scal for Red Bull. That is row 3 of the grid. On row 4, we have David Kupak, a great qualifying by him for Toro Rosso, and Kirosima de Rosa 8th for McLaren. Row 5, we have Evan Byrne for Renault and Matteo Catalan 10th for Toro Rosso. Row 6, we have Jay McKenzie for Renault and Chris Chatfield for Haas. And on row 7, we have Gabriel Gomez for Alfa Romeo Racing and Roda Moitin for Racing Point. Not the best qualifying by Racing Point either, you have to say. Andrea Federi, 15th for Alfa Romeo. Felix Sontag getting the Williams into Q2. Good performance by him in 16th. 17th position, George Roque, not a good qualifying by him. And not a good season so far for him either. Paolino Tomaselli only in 18th as well. On row 10 of the grid, we have Lean Compano for Williams and Jared Fosbury for Haas. And that will leave on the final row of the grid the 2 manners of Rosetta Martinez and Maxime Titkov. Can barely separate the 2 drivers either, very close to each other, but Rosetta Martinez coming on top in that team battle. And the race will have a dry race, 0% chance of rain, so no chance of much overtaking really in the dry conditions, but you never know. It's a tight circuit, but with these cars I'm not expecting much, but anyway, 78 laps, a 78 lap drive around the streets of Monaco. The 5 lights are now coming on, and we are about to get underway. And Lopez makes a good start and stays ahead of cars. They head towards the first corner, and is there going to be any overtakes, any crashes at the first corner? Looks like they've all kept it clean so far. 2 Ferraris almost side by side there as they come through, but at the moment, Carr, of course, getting overtaken by Gamba as well, actually. We didn't see that, but Gamba made a great start, actually. Was alongside Carr, managed to get ahead into the first corner. Wasn't going to be able to get past Lopez, of course, they got the old pit exit there. But so far, a great start by Gamba, exactly what he needs as the cars come through. So far, not much change in the order. Most of them have stayed in the same positions as they started in. So you look towards the back of the grid, actually, Fosbury's moved, gone down to 21st. I think Martinez got past him. But at the moment, still Lopez, who's already got a lead to Gamba in 2nd, then Carr in 3rd, Chung in 4th. But so far, a clean start, surprisingly, as they come out of the tunnel in towards the many chicanes around this famous circuit. So as they go through, Lopez leading, already a second ahead of Gamba, extending the lead. And he's extending the lead despite the fact he's actually got heavy fuel. As you look at that, and I think Roque has been hit, I think, by the McLaren behind him. That is Tomaselli, who I think has got damage too. So we have had a bit of contact on the first lap. And George Roque, his season goes from bad to worse. So as you look on board coming into the chicane, and Tomaselli just runs clean into the back of the Racing Point there. So the incident will be under investigation. So we will find out soon if there will be a penalty for that. But we're now skipping already on to lap 6, proving how thrilling this race has already been. And no surprise, not much change in the order. Cars not exactly keeping to the back of Gomez behind. And speaking of Gomez, we're looking at Gabriel Gomez in 13th, I should say, to the other Mercedes in front of him before, but Gomez actually touching the wall there, making a slight little error on the back of Chris Chatfield there, and just slightly touched the wall right there. You could see the contact, but not enough to damage Gomez's car there, so fortunately all four wheels are still on the car. But as we look now at Franco Gamma coming into the pits for his first stop of the race, a 3-stop it looks like around Monaco, probably not the best of ideas you would have to say, but who knows, at the moment no retirements from this race, so anything can still happen, but you just have to hope, as long as you don't get caught in traffic and you're in clear air around Monaco, you're fine. But if you get caught in traffic, then yeah, good luck to you really. But Gamma comes out of the pits and comes out in, it looks like P9, so he comes out inside the points. He's got Byrne and Catalan in front of him. Lopez doing a good job out front actually, I have to say, sticking ahead of Carr, and of course the car I was talking about coming behind was Gamma, not Gomez earlier on, getting the two confused. A very easy mistake to make, particularly when his name is Gomez. But anyway, we're looking at the moment at the Ferrari of Laura Chong, who is set to pit this lap. She is doing the same strategy as Franco Gamba, it seems. So the gap actually to Willows behind is quite a lot. Was at 13 seconds, so proving, depending on the fuel you have as well, and particularly around Monaco, if you have heavy fuel, it's going to be a long race for you. But as we look at Laura Chong coming towards Raskas, the final few corners on the circuit, now jinking to the right, heading for the pits, and I'm so used to having the pit boxes on the left instead of the right as they come in. Laura Chong in, changing all four tyres, and she is going to go back out on the circuit. Pretty quick stop, 6.1 seconds. There's another pit call as well, another team out for their driver. And Chong, will she come in actually ahead of Franco Gamba in the Red Bull is the big question. It was Evan Byrne that was the other driver coming in. And Chung comes out, and she is going to come in ahead of Franco Gamba. So Chung has jumped Franco Gamba in the pit stops there. So good work by the Ferrari crew. But of course, the big question is, will Chung be able to get through the, I was about to say lap traffic, but about to get through the back markers, I guess you could say, in front of them. But as Byrne comes out down in, it looks like 19th position, so he's near the back. But of course he'll have plenty of, he'll gain plenty more spots when all the rest of them pit. But the question is, of course, how long. We now look at David Cupot coming into the pits for his first stop. Meanwhile, Tomaselli has received a 10-second time penalty because of the incident with car 99 George Roque there. Not really surprised, just ran clean into the back of him on the first lap, and it's, well, ruined both their races. And David Cupot coming in meanwhile. And let's see, so he's doing slightly lighter fuel than some of the others have done, so it looks like he might be doing the 3 as well. That moves now Chris Chatfield into the points in 10th. David Cupot coming out of the pits, and he's going to be in, it looks like P14, because ahead of Lincoln Capano. So the good news for him is that he is in clear air. A couple more seconds and he would have been stuck in traffic, so it's all about timing your pit stops right and making sure, of course, you have the pace as well. Meanwhile, we're looking, this is at George Roque being lapped by the Mercedes here. This is, I think, of Armar Carr, who is trying to go through, and he does so. And Roque, oh, and I think Roque's been hit from behind, and it's by Tomaselli again. Oh dear, you think Tomaselli would have learned a lesson, wouldn't you? But unfortunately, Tomaselli has really screwed over both their races now. So as Roque was getting lapped by the Mercedes there, and he moved in back in front, Tomaselli just runs clean into the back of him. Maybe you could say Roque, he wasn't expecting Roque to move in front of him, but I'm not sure if that will be under investigation or not. And the answer is actually yes, it will. So we'll see if Tomaselli gets another penalty for going into the back of Roque yet again. You would think, I mean, I'm not sure who's to blame for that one, really. I think it's probably going to be a racing incident, they'll give that one. But anyway, Armar Carr now comes into the pits, changing all four tyres, nearly out of fuel, actually. He'll be doing the 2-stopper, whereas his teammate Franco Lopez, who of course is currently leading this race, will be doing the 1. The 1, I think, the 1 I think is the best way to go around Monaco. Mainly, of course, because there's not really much chance that you'll get overtaken. But as we see Carr coming out of the pits, and he's going to cut, of course, in P2, does crucially come out ahead of Joseph Willers, which is important. So there we go. So it looks, at the moment, it looks like it could be a very comfortable Mercedes 1-2, because there's this big train of cars behind Joseph Willers, who's going on the long stint. He's not been pitting for a while, same as Franco Lopez, and he's already a pit stop behind. So if Lopez was to pit now, he'd come out probably about ahead of Joseph Willers. That's how far they are ahead. Meanwhile, Mackenzie trying to get past the Toro Rosso of Matteo Catalan there. But he's unable to do so. Still not many overtakes we've seen around this circuit. Lopez at the moment obviously leading, and he's going to be leading for quite a while longer. So meanwhile, Gabriel Gomez and Lee Campana are in for their first stops of the race. So we're on lap 21, so about this time if they're doing it on the lap 20s, then it's probably going to be the 2-stop. Meanwhile, we look at Franco Lopez at the moment in the lead going through the tunnel. And he's going to be cruising very comfortably at the moment, because Carr will be closing in on him, of course, on much fresher tyres. But Lopez doesn't need to do anything stupid; just needs to get to the lap he pits without any damage, avoiding all the walls, and he should be fine. Because, of course, on the one-stopper, he'll come out ahead of Carr. Well, I should say, once Carr goes in for his second stop, after Lopez has his first, then Lopez should have a pretty easy ride to the finish, you would imagine. But there's still plenty of time to go in this race. You never know what could happen. But as we look now at Willows, who's still running the third, he's got a massive bunch of cars behind him. Meanwhile, we look at Amar Carr, who is lapping the man here. Now, here's George Rook, who actually gets overtaken by Paolino Tomaselli. We have actually seen an overtake on the circuit. And just to compound Roke's misery, not only has he been pounded by Tomaselli twice in the rear wing, he's now been overtaken by him, and actually looked like to be a little mistake there from Rogue. I think there's a bit of smoke, a little bit of a lock-up, but Thomas said he still made a good move down the inside there, and he actually was close to actually getting a tick off there too. But still, nonetheless, that was a good move by Tomaselli, moving up a position to from last to second to last. Meanwhile, Carrosso de Rosso, who of course, if you remember last season, got a podium here, because he was doing, I believe it was the one stuff he did last year. Managed to get a podium out of the race, which of course he's very happy with. At the moment, looks like he's in the points, so he's set to get a decent points finish. So he comes out of the pits, and let's see where he comes out. He's going to come out in, I think that was 8th position. And so we look at Amar Carr. Second, here's Franco Gamba, who at the moment is still stuck behind this chain car, still behind Chung, behind Gao, behind Willows. It's Ferrari and Red Bull battle here for the podium. But of course, Willows is going to be on the one-stop, so they're really going to get past him if they want to do anything. So unfortunately for Chung, and Franco Gamba, this 3-stop they're trying is not working, because unless they get past Gal and Willows now, then it is not just never going to work. Really, that is the bottom line of it, because around the circuit it's very difficult to overtake. And speaking of Chung, she now goes into the pits for her second stop. So now Gamma moves up to 5th position behind Gal, who is behind Willows. Gap, I think, about 18 seconds Willows to Carr in second. But as we look, speaking of Carr, we're looking at him right now, going through the tunnel. The question is, where is Laura Chong actually going to come out on the circuit too? Meanwhile, Franco Lopez coming up to even more traffic. Willows diving down the inside of traffic here, managing to make it through. And now the two Red Bulls trying to make it through as well. Very tight as they come through the hairpin there. We look now at Franco Lopez at the moment in the lead, coming up to some traffic. He's going to be hitting very, very soon, actually. In a few laps' time, probably around lap 39 or so, he is going to pit. Meanwhile, the two Red Bulls now lapping George Roke at the moment in last. Still so far, no retirements in this race, actually. We've been 33 laps in and still no retirements. Although Roke's trying to get back through past, this is Franco Camera, I think, is the hairpin there, side by side between the two of them. Meanwhile, Carr coming up to lap this Manor in front of him. Comes towards the final corner, and yes, Roke did manage to unlap himself, although the Red Bull now goes past him through the tunnel and actually now laps him. So, as we look at Roke now coming through the chicane in last behind the Red Bull, we're looking at Carr at second. So the gap Carr to Lopez is about 14 seconds, so of course when Lopez goes in, Carr will retake the lead, and then Lopez will get it back, of course, when Carr has to go back into the pits for his second stop. David Kupok is now in for another stop. I think that's his second stop, I believe. I don't think he's made a stop already. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's his second stop. Meanwhile, Gambit diving down the inside of the McLaren and getting through. Meanwhile, we're looking at Evan Byrne, who's getting a little bit of a twitch on, coming through Raskas there. Fortunately, keeping it on the road, but he at the moment is stuck behind this gaggle of cars in 19th position. Carr trying to get through all of this traffic. So is Franco Gamba. He is going through the Manor in the through the tunnel there. So as he comes through towards the chicane, at the moment he's dropped a bit of time behind Gal, having got stuck behind there. So it's going to be a case of these guys trying to get through traffic cleanly. As we look at Carl Lord to get down the inside of the Haas there, and making a move on him to lap him. So as we look at them coming through the hairpin, there's a pit call there. I couldn't quite see who that was for. We're looking at Franco Lopez coming through the chicane there. He's coming up to more lap traffic in front of him. Just needs to get through it cleanly and safely. He needs to be pitting in about 2 laps or so. 2 laps, maybe even 3. 2 or 3 laps. Lopez will be coming in for his first and only stop of this race. So as he comes through here, now we're looking at Roque now on the back of Tomaselli. This is about to not be last, but he's unable to get through there. So he stays behind the Italian. He'll certainly want to get revenge on him, that's for sure. So as they come through his car, going past the Williams there, safely and soundly. So as car comes now through the final corner to finish another lap. So we're nearly at the halfway point, or we pretty much are at the halfway point of this race. And so far, it's looking to be a pretty simple race for the 2 Mercedes out front, for Franco Lopez and Armco. It looks like it is Lopez's race at this moment in time, because of course he's pitting, but then cars to pit once more. So it looks to be, well, it's going to be Mercedes 1-2, but which one of the Mercedes is going to win is going to be the $1 million question. And so we look at Lopez now, speak of the devil, coming through. He'll go one more lap. I think he could probably do another one if he really wanted to, but depends how far he really wants to go. He knows he doesn't necessarily need to push it on the next set of tyres. So as we look once again at this battle at the back between Roque and Tomaselli, we're looking at Willows, who also is going, I think, even longer than what Franco Lopez is going on this stint. So he's going to be pretty quick at the end, but of course won't really matter because, of course... And oh no! And wow! Miguel Gal has crashed! We finally have some entertainment! And unfortunately, Miguel Gal has crashed out of the Monaco Grand Prix, and that's the first retirement at halfway through the race. There's debris everywhere, all these goddamn damages, and the wheel is right there in the middle of the track. The Renault is coming towards it. Oh, there's more goddamn damages. There goes the wheel and the wing, and that is 2 retirements in the space of a straight, basically. And what Renault was that? I believe that may have been Jay McKenzie, and it was Jay McKenzie, the one who hit the wheel there. But for Miguel Gal, he is out of the Monaco Grand Prix, and so is Jay McKenzie. 2 retirements on 1 lap, and there we go. That is both their races done and dusted. So there we go. Let's have a look at the replay once again. So Gal, who has been stuck behind Willows for an eternity, it probably seemed like, driving around on these streets, and then coming through, Gorman makes a slight mistake. We've seen it with Gomez, but this time it was fatal for him, and Gal went into the wall. You can see he was never going to make it. I mean, the mistake with Gomez earlier only slightly touched it, but Gal made significantly more contact, and also crashed right in front of his teammate Franco Gamba, who just about managed to avoid hitting Gal's car, and he actually got away through the debris as well without any damage. So Gamba's a lucky man that he's got through all of that. But unfortunately for Jay McKenzie, who we'll see replay of in a minute, he wasn't so lucky. But as we see here, Gal, slight mistake, and that was it. Getting caught in the dirty air of the Ferrari, and Gamba, Franco Gamba is so lucky that he got through that. But Jay McKenzie was running in 10th place. You can see obviously the yellow flag coming out on the def panel there, and then coming through you can see Gal's car on the right, but then coming over the hill, there's the wheel, and he hits it, and that was it. Goes into the Casino de Monte Carlo sign, which he'll want to be going to drown his sorrows after this race. But anyway, we're looking at Franco Lopez, who is coming in for his one and only stop. It's going to be a long first stint, and it's going to be a long second stint as well. So, Lopez comes through. It's a pretty long stop, though, actually. 10 seconds. That was a very long stop there for Mercedes, but the incident between Tomaselli and George Roque concluded to be a racing incident. So, as Lopez now comes out onto the circuit in P2, it's looking very, very comfortable for Mercedes once again. So we're looking now, this is Lopez. How far is he away? About 10 seconds off Car. He'll probably close up to him before Car pits. Then Car will pit, Lopez will take the lead, and then that should be how it remains until the end. Meanwhile, Roland Moitian is coming in to the pits for his... how many stops has he made, actually? I don't remember him making the first stop. I'm not sure, actually. But we're looking now at Evan Byrne, who's being lapped by the Mercedes here. Very tight. through the through Raskas there. Oh, and we have another retirement, and Andrea Federi has just gone straight into the wall there behind. So that's the third retirement of this race, and Federi, who didn't have a particularly great qualifying, and unfortunately just had a pretty lonely race, just went way too wide coming through there, and just went straight into the wall. So that is the third retirement of the race. So we've had 3 retirements in just 3 laps. So Federi now is out. So we have 3 retirements. We're now looking at Lopez, who has dropped a little bit behind Carr. It's about 10 seconds the gap. But that's the only reason why is because he's stuck behind the American Lean Campana. Now he finally goes around the outside. And, I really thought he'd gone into the wall there, Lopez, but fortunately he didn't. Gets around, and now he's free. As there was, I think that was actually an overtake there. I'm pretty sure the manner of Martinez just passed Jared Fosbury. Now Byrne is trying to get through as well, but I'm pretty sure Martinez just made a legitimate overtake on the track there. And this Fosbury went a little bit wide. Then Martinez managed to sneak his way through there. So good move there by Martinez. So we've seen another overtake on the circuit. Meanwhile, Matteo Catalan coming in for his... I'm not sure how many stops he's made, but he's coming in for a stop. He was pretty low on fuel, so he was cutting it fine. So I wonder how much fuel... I wonder if he'll go to the end. I would imagine he would. I think it would be stupid if they didn't put him to the end, but we'll see. And just look at all these cars, all in one spot on the track. I mean, you never really see this ever, do you? We've got about, how many cars actually? I'm going to count when the next come around the corners. We've got about, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 10 cars, all in one bit of the track there. So, as we look at Carr, and actually speaking of Carr, he's got his teammate right behind him. Meanwhile, Joseph Willows is finally going to come in for his one and only stop. It's been a torturous race for him, but he's held on to third pretty much almost the entire time, really, thanks to that. But now he comes in. The gap to De Rossa was about 27 seconds, so I think Willows actually, as long as Ferrari get this pit stop right, he'll still come out in third place. So, and actually De Rossa's fourth, so De Rossa could actually take another podium if Willows doesn't get out in front of him for 2 years in a row. And actually De Rossa is now trying to get past his teammates. Oh, there's contact. Thomas Lee gets hit again. Thomas Lee actually gets hit instead of hitting someone. But Willows, I think, has come up comfortably ahead on the circuit, I believe, of De Rossa. And yeah, I think he's come out ages away. So Willows is comfortably in third position. So it looks to be a pretty comfortable P3 of Willows, and there he is. Yeah, he's way ahead. So yeah, it's very comfortable for the Mercedes. So it's about 40 seconds the gap. But Willows, of course, has a very lonely race now in third. He's got no chance of getting to the 2 Mercedes in front of him unless something happens, unless something dramatic happens, I should say. But meanwhile, we look at Tomaselli in 17th there. So now we swap to the Mercedes of Franco Lopez, just following his teammate Carr. Carr knows he can do nothing about it, and Lopez knows he can't overtake, but he just doesn't need to. He doesn't need to do anything. Meanwhile, Roque comes out right in the midst of that traffic jam there. Comes out in 18th position. Comes out actually just ahead of his teammate Roland Moitian, who is about to lap him as well. So Roque, who was going from Haas having a great season, scoring points in most races last season, to Racing Point, where his old team, where unfortunately luck has just not gone for him so far this season. So I have to hope for better at the next round. But meanwhile, we look once again at the 2 Mercedes together. We could have a fight on our hands. Well, I say that. It would just be them two driving close to each other for the rest of the stint. We all know that. But as we look now at Amar Carr trying to get past the Williams ahead of him, which is Lean Campana. Meanwhile, we swap back to Joseph Willows at the moment, running in a very lonely third. De Rossa actually has come into the pits for one more stop. I didn't know if De Rossa had to pit or not, but yes, that has ended any chance, I would say, of getting the podium. But oh, Tomaselli! And to compound Tomaselli's misery, he's coming to the pits in the same lap that De Rossa has. He's going to be held up severely in the pits, and yeah, I think Tomaselli will want to get on his yacht or get the first flight out of here very quickly. It's just not been his race. Gone into Roque twice, been hit from behind, and now been held up in his stop. It's just not been his day, Tomaselli, unfortunately. So there we go. So we're looking once again in the gaggle of cars. Lopez right behind Carr, who I think I just saw Carr is pitting this lap. He is. So Carr will be pitting this lap and relinquishing his lead to Franco Lopez behind. And so this looks to be a fairly routine end to the race at this moment in time. But as I said, there is still plenty of laps to go. There's still over 20 laps left, 25 laps to be exact, left to go. As Carr comes through the tunnel, for his 53rd time. Lopez just following behind. Behind them is David Kupok at the moment, running in the points for Toro Rosso. Kupok, who had a great start to the season in Australia, kind of gone off a little bit since then. Matteo Catalan has performed very well, you have to say, in his debut season for Toro Rosso. At the moment, I think, where is Catalan? I don't actually know where Catalan is in the order. I'm pretty sure he's ahead of Kupok, if I'm not mistaken. Meanwhile, Laura Chung is in the pits for her final stop of the race. Car now finally does come in, his last stop. Tighten fuel, but of course he makes it. So now, car coming into the pits, and of course he'll come out in P2. So it'll probably gain up to Lopez towards the end of the race, but the big question is, will he be able to overtake? And the chances of that happening are next to none, I'd say. Well, I mean, it's not impossible, but it's a 99.9% chance that that's not going to happen, really. So I think that tells you everything you need to know, really, doesn't it? So, looking at car now, stuck behind the Williams once again. Catalan actually is behind Kupok. I was wrong. He's down in 14th, but I think Catalan, I'm pretty sure, isn't pitting again, if my memory serves me correctly. Meanwhile, we're looking at the also. Williams at the moment is in 3rd. Gamba is in 4th, but I'm pretty sure he has to pit before the end. Chris Chatfield at the moment actually in 5th. I don't know if he has to pit before the end, but if he doesn't, that will be an excellent result for him. 6th is Kupok, 7th is De Rossa, 8th is Chung. So De Rossa is still ahead of Chung actually after that stop. 9th is Jared Fosbury, and 10th is Evan Byrne. But I think there's still several drivers who have still got to pit before the end. Martinez, who has just pitted, being one of them. So he's coming to the pits, and I think there's going to be at least 6 or 7 drivers that still need to pit before the end. Willows isn't one of them. He's running on his own at this moment in time, in 3rd position, and that's as good as he's going to get. 20 laps left to go in this Monaco Grand Prix. Meanwhile, car diving to the inside there, passing the Force India of Moichin there, making the move through. So Moichin at the moment running 11th. Chris Chatfield has come in for his last stop of the race. So he was running 5th. So he's running quite high, but he's going to be coming up behind that big gaggle of cars. Meanwhile, Franco Lopez at the moment coming through, set to take the Red Bull in front of him. So this is the Red Bull, I believe, of actually Franco Gamba, set to lap his fellow Franco, which will be very satisfactory for him, I think. A good amount of satisfaction, although I think actually Gamba might be pitting this lap. Meanwhile, Jared Fosbury now in for his final stop of the race. Chatfield down in 13th position after that stop. So meanwhile, looking at Franco Gamba, who is actually, as I said, pitting this lap, so he's not going to face the well, it'll still be lap, but he's not going to face the humiliation of having to let his fellow Franco lap him himself, which I think he'll be pretty relieved to do. So we look now at Gamba coming towards the final corners and coming into the pits. Jinx off to the right, and there we go. In he goes. So Gamba comes in, we'll change all 4 tyres, go to the end. That should be that. So 24 as a fuel station. Where does Gamba come out actually? It's going to be the big question actually. Gamba, he's been held up there. Actually had to wait for David Kupok to come into the pits there, so that will affect Gamba. Not be too happy about that. So where does Franco Gamba come out in the order is the big question. He comes out in, I think that was 6th position, so he comes up behind Chung and De Rossi. Will close up to them, but the big question is, will he be able to overtake them, which will be a tough ask, but you never know what could happen. So we're looking now at Lopez once again the lead. The gap actually up to 24 seconds, but cars had to deal with traffic. That gap should be coming down towards the end of the race, that is for sure. So at the moment, Gamba in 6th, Moichin 7th, Catalan 8th, Sontag 9th, and Gomez completing the points in 10th position. So meanwhile, we're now looking at, once again, Lopez in the lead. The gap coming down to 18 seconds. There's 10 laps to go. So car is going to be closing, but it's just not going to be enough, I don't think. And oh no, Laura Chung has made a mistake. Laura Chung, winner last time out in Spain, has made the same mistake as Gal and has retired from the race. And oh no, and Gamba's hit the debris. And it's deja vu once again. Gamba and Chung out of the race. That is going to promote a number of drivers up a few positions now. But wow, not what either one of those drivers would have wanted. And for Chung, especially after her win last time out, she's made a bad mistake and taken herself and Gamba out with her. So Chung, who's running in 7th, actually dropped a bit, actually behind De Rossi in front. She went a little bit wide, made a mistake into the wall. That was her race over, and unfortunately Franco Gamba behind. A few seconds later, couldn't do anything to avoid the debris, and yep, that's his race done and dusted. So there we go, 2 retirements with 10 laps to go, and yeah, it's going to promote a few drivers up a few positions. So at the moment, of course, it's Lopez leading. He's got 11-second lead ahead of cars. We look at this huge gaggle of cars. Lopez trying to lap all of them. He goes past the McLaren around the outside. Tomaselli, and he hits the back of Byrne there. And Byrne, I think he's gone into the wall. Yes, he has. Byrne is into the wall. He is out. Byrne has hit the wall, and Lopez has got damage. Lopez has got damage. I can't believe what has just happened. And that means that has just handed the win to Carr on a gold plate. Can you believe what has just happened there? And Joseph Willows, some very, very interesting tactics there. And oh my word, and Lopez is going to be furious. He had the win sewn up. Let's have a look at what happened again. So, let's have a look. So, Willows is going past the McLaren here, going around the outside. Then he just crashes into the back of Byrne, budges him wide, and unfortunately Byrne getting off-put by that. Then goes into the wall, coming around the outside there, just pushed him wide. And that was it. And then the McLaren and Jared Fosbury getting stuck behind there. I think that was of Tomaselli. I think was stuck there. But Franco Lopez was just coming through, and then unexpectedly sees this happen in front of him, and as he goes, just hits the wheel there. He was so nearly through it. Hits the wheel, and that's just handed Armagh Carr the lead and the win. There's just no doubt about it. And oh my word, I cannot believe what I have just seen. Lopez had it in the bag, and through no fault of his own, is not going to get the win. Changes the wing, and Armagh Carr is set to take victory. I mean, what can you say about that? What can you say about that? I mean, you really got to feel for Lopez. You really do. So he's going to come out, of course, in second position, but of course he could still go for fastest lap. He's got 1 lap to do it. So we'll see if he manages to do that. But we're looking at your race leader, Armagh Carr, set to take victory here in Monaco yet again. So of course he won last season in Monaco, and he's set to win yet again. He is going to be the King of Monaco. Well, I said King of Monaco, but well, he's going to keep his crown anyway here once again. But I mean, it's just not deserved really. Lopez had the win in the bag. The one stop was the way to go around Monaco, and unfortunately for Lopez, just getting caught in that instant through no fault of his own. Of course, Willows going into the back of Byrne, forcing him into the wall, and then having to running into the debris. So it is going to be Carr's day today. Well, the silver car is going to win, but it's the wrong. You could say it's the wrong car that is the one that is going to win today. So it's Armagh Carr, 78 laps, a Sunday drive around Monaco, set to take victory here. He was never really going to win it, but he's got it now. He's taken advantage of an unfortunate break for Franco Lopez, and Armagh Carr going to come round and take victory at the Monaco Grand Prix. He comes across the line, and he wins today. Meanwhile, we're looking at the rest of the order. Roke going to come across the line in P14. Just, yeah, not the greatest race for him. At least he didn't finish last. That's probably the best you can hope for. Franco Lopez, you got to feel for him. You really do. And he does set the fastest lap on the last lap, a 1:11.0. That does bulldoze the lap record by over a second. So Lopez, that's I suppose at least he gets the fastest lap. That's something. A podium fastest lap. It's good, but unfortunately would have hoped for more. Meanwhile, Roland Moichin gets 5th position. Didn't look like he was going to get it, really. Just hadn't seen much of him. But he comes across the line in 5th. He'll be very happy with that. Catalan matching his best result 6th. Sontag 7th. Gomez 8th. Kupok 9th. And Chatfield 10th. So Sontag getting a good result as well. Chatfield getting another point for Haas as well. So a few good results there, you have to say. Lincoln Campana set to come across in 11th position, just holding off Rosetta Martinez in the other manner. And behind them is the Ferrari of Joseph Willows. Been on that one stop the whole race, held up the pack. And that was what he needed to do, and managed to stay in 3rd the whole time. So he gets the podium. Fosbury behind as well. De Rossa taking once again a very impressive 4th position. He actually was close behind Willows at the end, only 2 seconds tick off, and then Tomaselli coming across the line too. But that is it, race over. So we're now going to take a look at the full race results. Armagh Carr winning ahead of Franco Lopez 2nd, Joseph Willows 3rd, De Rossa 4th. Only 4 cars on the lead lap as well. But the rest of the top 10 as follows: Moichin in 5th, Catalan 6th, Sontag 7th, Gomez 8th, Kupok 9th, and Chris Chatfield completing the points in 10th for Haas. Lincoln Campana 11th, of course. Franco Lopez setting the fast lap of the race and getting that 1 extra bonus point. The rest of the order being as follows: Rosetta Martinez 12th, Jared Holsby 13th, Roke 14th, Titkoff 15th, Thomas Ali I think he was behind actually, Titkoff anyway, and Byrne of course still classified despite retiring late on, with Frankie Gamba, Laura Chung, Andrea Federi, Jamie McKenzie and Nicholas Gow, the drivers who did not finish this race. So there we go. Now, the driver standings, of course, Lopez does extend his lead over Willis, but it would have been even more had he won this race. Now 21 points is the gap. Amar Khan moving up to 3rd place ahead of Nicholas Gow and Laura Chung, and Frankie Gamba moving above them. De Rossa and Catalan moving up to 9th and 10th respectively, with their points finished, and Federi down to 11th. Looking at the rest of the order now. Gomez moving up to 12th ahead of Mackenzie. Felix Sontag moving up ahead of Byrne. Chatfield getting 1 point, moving above George Roke as well. David Cupop moving above Fosbury and Titkoff as well. Lots of movements everywhere really. So far, Lean Campana and Rosetta Martinez, the only drivers yet to score any points this season in the Drivers' Championship. In the constructor standings, Mercedes now moving above Ferrari onto the top spot. Red Bull a little bit behind in 3rd, McLaren in 4th, Racing Point moving ahead of Alfa Romeo in 6th, Toro Rosso up ahead of Renault in 7th, Williams up ahead of Haas in 9th, and Manor last with just 2 points. So there we go. That was the Monaco Grand Prix, and Felix Sontag was given Driver of the Day in the end. A pretty good performance, you have to say, so well done to him. So yeah, that was the Monaco Grand Prix, and the next round of course will be the Canadian Grand Prix at Montreal. That will not be next week, however, that will be the week after, as of course next week we have a very special race returning for the 3rd year, the Indy 500. So we'll see you next week for the Indy 500. We'll see you in 2 weeks for the Canadian Grand Prix at Montreal. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you later.